Her eyes flashed anger. So you've left her? Yes, until she can get an annulment. Mother put the rabbi's skin to one side. With a sharp knife in her bloody hand, she began to joint the carcass, dropping the pieces into the cooking pot bubbling on the fire. Friar Philip did me to that once when I was with Tom, she said, slicing the raw meat with swift strokes. I know why he gets so frantic about people making love. It's because he's not allowed to do it himself, and he resents other people's freedom to enjoy what is forbidden to him. Of course, there's nothing he can do about it when they're married by the church. But if they're not, he gets the chance to spoil things for them, and that makes him feel better. She cut off the rabbit's feet and threw them into a wooden bucket full of rubbish. Jack nodded. He had accepted the inevitable, but every time he said good night to Aliena and walked away from her door, he felt angry with Philip, and he understood his mother's persistent resentment. It's not forever, though, he said. How does Aliena feel about it? Jack grimaced. Not good, but she thinks it's her fault for marrying Alfred in the first place. So it is. And it's your fault for being determined to build churches. He was sorry that she could not share his vision. Mother, it's not worth building anything else. Churches are bigger and higher and more beautiful and more difficult to build and have more decoration and sculpture than any other kind of building, and you won't be satisfied with anything less, right? She shook her head in perplexity. I'll never know where you got the idea that you were destined for greatness. She dropped the rest of the rabbit in the pot and began to clean the underside of its skin. She would use the fur. You certainly didn't inherit it from your forebears. That was the cue he had been waiting for. Mother, when I was overseas, I learned some more about my forebears. She stopped scraping and looked at him. What on earth do you mean? I found my father's family. How did you know that? Where are they? What are they like? There's a town in Normandy called Cherbourg, and that's where he came from. How can you be sure? I looked so much like him they thought I was a ghost. Mother sat down heavily on a stool. Jack felt guilty about having shocked her so badly, but he had not expected her to be so shaken by the news. She said, What are his people like? His father's dead, but his mother's still alive. She was kind once she was convinced I wasn't the ghost of my father. His older brother is a carpenter with a wife and 3 children. My cousins, he smiled. Isn't that nice? We've got relations. The thought seemed to upset her, and she looked distressed. Oh, Jack, he said lightly. He was embarrassed when his mother showed remorse. It was out of character for her. But I'm glad I met my cousins. Even if I never see them again, it's good to know they're there. She nodded sadly. I understand. Jack took a deep breath. They thought my father had drowned in a shipwreck 24 years ago.